Hey guys! So our last lesson for the week, we are looking at lesson 12. In this, we're looking at volume and edge lengths of cubes, so comparing the two and seeing the relationship. So moving past our Pythagorean theorem in this case. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so ordering squares and cubes. Let A, B, C, D, E, and F be positive numbers. So all of these are positive numbers originally. And given these equations, we're going to arrange all of them in order from least to greatest. So first off, let's find out what A, B, C, D, E, and F are by solving each of these or coming close to solving them, giving a best approximation. So in this first one, we have a squared equals 9. If we take the square root of both sides, we're going to end up with a equals the square root of 9, which equals 3. For the next one, we have b to the third power equals 8. Now, we're taking b times b times b. So what number times itself again gives us 8? So what we're looking at is b equals the third root of 8, and that number is 2. All right, for C, we have the square root of 10. Now, if we think about taking the square root of 10, we know it's going to be a little bit bigger than 3 because the square root of 9 is 3. So C equals square root of 10, slightly more than 3. All right, for D, we have D to the third power equals 9. So we're taking the third root of 9. Now, 9 is not a perfect cube. 8 was a perfect cube, and it gave us 2. So if we take the cubed root of 9, we're going to be a little bit more than 2. So slightly more than 2. All right, for E, we're taking the square root. So write this out here, square root of 8. Now, if we think about this, the square root of 9 was 3. Square root of 8 is just going to be under that, so slightly less than 3. And last but not least, we have f to the third power equals 7. So we're taking the third root of 7. And so if we look back up here, b, the third root of 8, was 2. Well, 7 is just below 8, so that means this should be slightly less than 2. Now, with all of these values, we can now place them in order from least to greatest. So what's the smallest thing we have here? Which letter? F. Yeah, it's the smallest because it was slightly less than 2. Excellent. Let's go ahead and just cross that out. We used it. So F was slightly less than 2. B was exactly 2, so it's going to come next. What comes, oops, did not mean to do that. What comes after B? So we have our slightly less than 2. We have 2. We need slightly more than 2. So our D is our next one because it's slightly more than 2. That was supposed to be a D. Sorry. There we go, sort of. You know what I mean. All right, so we got slightly less than 2. We've got 2. We've got slightly more than 2. What comes after slightly more than 2? Well, slightly less than 3, do we suppose? Yes, indeed. So E comes next. And then what's next? So for slightly less than 3, then we're going to go to 3. So A will be our next one. And so by process of elimination, C is going to be the largest because C is slightly more than 3. So remember, when you're taking and doing square roots, that's always what number times itself gives you that number. When you're doing cubed roots, it's what number times itself times itself. So 3 things give you that number. So it's all the same value times itself 3 times. So keep that in mind with our cube roots as we continue. So keyword for this lesson is cube. Since we're dealing with a lot of cubes, your keyword for this lesson will be cube. All right, so name that edge length. Fill in the missing values using the information provided. So if we have a volume of some cube is 27 inches cubed, what is the side length going to be? Well, what's the cubed root? What we do is we're going to take the cubed root of 27. Now, 27 is a perfect cube because 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 is 27. So the cubed root of 27 is 3. So there's our side. Now, to write the volume equation, I'm going to write it off to the side over here just so that way you can actually see it and I have space. It will be 3 to the third power equals 27. All right, our next one, we have a side length of the third root of 5. If we take the third root of 5 and we find the volume, that means we're taking it to the third power. Now, just like when we have a square root to the second power, these things are going to cancel each other. So we're just left with 5. So for our volume equation, once again, going to write this off over here. We'll have the third root of 5 third equals 5. And then last but not least, we're given the volume equation. So the third root of 16 to the third power equals 16. So what's the volume? 16. And what is our side length? The third root of 16. So, like I said, keyword for this lesson is volume, or sorry, not volume, air. Keyword for this lesson is cube. Sorry, I was saying volume too much on that last part. So, keyword for this lesson is cube. And remember, if you're taking the cubed root of something, it's finding the one number that times itself 3 times, gives you that number that you already have. Or if you're cubing something, you're taking that number times itself again to get to your final answer. So once again, your keyword is cube. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm more than happy to help you with it. Make sure you get everything submitted before 11:59 on Friday. Or no, not Friday this time. It's Thursday, I believe. So make sure to check the instructional guide to be sure of due dates. I believe I made mine Thursday this week since we have spring break on Friday and no school. So remember that, and definitely be on the lookout for other teachers to have different due dates for things. All right. Hope you guys get this and have good luck with this. Happy mathing.